But for real though, just like clip this entire stream or something. Or you can clip this right here because this is going to be like a perfect Bianco 6. That was an RNG bonk right there.
Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about speedrunning because speedrunning is pretty freaking cool. Speedrunning's pretty popular, but not so much where every single person knows about it. It's literally just playing a game and trying to run through it as fast as possible. Obviously, it's a little more complicated than that, but when you boil it down to just, the simple terms, that's pretty much what it is. But how popular it is depends on the game, because obviously games like, Super Mario 64 or Sunshine are going to have extremely active communities, whereas smaller games might not. And if there aren't a lot of runners, then no one's really trying to beat the world record, so not many people run the game in the first place unless whoever has the world record wants to improve their personal best, or the occasional person just trying to run the game because they want to. And my experience with speedrunning was simply, I just had a friend that showed me a bunch of the, the SGDQ and the AGDQ runs, and some of this stuff just absolutely blew my mind. I mean, you have all the Kirby games where you just completely glitch past certain areas and skip over entire, places and bosses as well, and those are just awesome. You also have the Pokemon games where, in a lot of them you can completely almost reprogram the game using complicated glitches that involve the bag, and you move bags and put them out of your stuff and move them, and pretty much how you're moving them and where you're moving stuff in your bag is kind of like reprogramming the game somehow. I have no clue how people figure that out in the first place, but they kind of reprogram the game and they just teleport themselves to the final four and stuff like that. And the Pokemon games in general just have really, really awesome glitches. I can admit sometimes some of the glitches can kind of be a little boring to watch because it almost looks like you're watching someone you're watching someone pretty much code. And although it's really, really cool to see it, in a Pokemon game, someone recode a game kind of through the bag, if it lasts a while, it can get a little repetitive, but it's still so fascinating to watch. And for me, I really like seeing glitched runs. I mean, glitchless runs are cool, but I love to see how absolutely broken games can get. You got Morrowind, where you literally, at the beginning, you just jump miles upwards and forwards to an area, and then you gain no clip, and then you just beat the game almost instantly after that. And, obviously, there's probably more that goes into it there. It's obviously hard. I'm making it sound like it's super easy, but, obviously I don't know all the steps going into that speed run. But when you're watching it, it's so hilarious, because this huge RPG game that has tons of hours of gameplay and has tons of content and quests, it's just beaten in 3.5 minutes, and it's so hilarious to just watch and see. And my friend Pluto Apostrophe actually, recently started streaming on Twitch. He's speedrunning Super Mario Sunshine, and it's so much fun to watch because, he's doing the 120 star category, and, obviously there's some glitches in that, but it's just awesome to see how fast that game can actually be, beaten and run through, and then also using glitches that make you, jump really far, up in the air with your jetpack or whatever, your water jetpack. Before that he started, he was speedrunning Hotline Miami, but I think the RNG in that game made him want to die a little bit, so he kind of, started switched to speedrunning the Super Mario Sunshine. I'll have a link in my description to his Twitch if you guys want to watch him. I think it's so awesome just to see that game be run, and he's super hilarious as well, so, that's pretty cool. Also, me and him attempted, early on, we started trying to speedrun the Borderlands 2 co-op, but we never got super into that. I mean, we had the first kind of areas memorized, but we just never really got further into that. And I really hope we do go back to that, because that's my only experience really speedrunning firsthand. Just because, I don't know, I've never really tried. I've been interested in it. I've kind of thought, I was like, oh, I want to speedrun, Portal, and I started to do all that. I started to watch speedruns, and I saw how complicated a lot of the stuff was, and I was like, oh, that's a little scary. But, it's just so cool because every single, so many games have speedruns, and although not all games might not have super active speedrunning communities, a lot of times if you have a game that you know about, there will be at least a couple runs. They might not be super, because if you're watching Sunshine or 64, one of the really popular ones, those routes are really optimized because so many people, run that game, and So many people are competing for world records and trying to figure out newer, faster ways to, win. And say someone finds a skip that, saves everyone 2 minutes. Everyone's going to start using that skip, and then because there's still so many people running it, everyone's going to try to find even more skips or more shortcuts or try to optimize the route even more. And so you're just continuously, everyone's getting faster and faster and faster, and the world record keeps getting broken. And it's really awesome. But, although that might not really happen in some smaller games with smaller communities, there still are some runs that most likely are a lot faster than you thought could be possible, or there's some glitches in that run that you didn't even know existed because you just never encountered them. Because some people, I mean, it's crazy, and it's so awesome how some people figure out all of this stuff. I mean, there's so many, if you watch some runs, there's so many glitches and complicated things that I have no clue how people figured that out. I mean, it's just so fascinating to me, and I really, really love it. And all I'm really trying to say in this video is just, if you haven't, just watch some speedruns of literally anything. I mean, if you had a childhood game you loved, chances are someone's speedrunning it. As an example, I absolutely loved SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom as a kid. I had it on my PlayStation 2, and it was so much fun. I got really far, and then because I was a kid, I couldn't get past this one area where you were in Plankton's lair or whatever. But there's an awesome guy named Shift that streams it on Twitch as well, and it's just so fun because there's so much technical stuff you have to do in that game. I've heard that, I mean, that community is actually a little active. I mean, Shift has the world record, and he constantly speedruns trying to break his world record, so it's awesome to watch him. But there is, a lot of other runners doing it. Not as popular as other games, obviously, but it's still decently active. But apparently that game is just extremely hard to speedrun because there's so many frame perfect things you have to do, and if you don't, you just have to reset because you lose way too much time. I mean, I'll be watching him every now and then, and he misses landing on a building. I think the last time I watched him, he was on his personal best. He was a minute or two ahead of his personal best. He was kind of near, the end sort of ish, and he didn't land on a building properly, just like a frame off, and he fell, and he had to just completely reset his run because it would have taken him 4 to 5 minutes to get back to where he was. And also, I think there is a tiny bit of RNG in that game, a little bit, because I've seen him get screwed over by it. There's a lot of inconsistent glitches that are really important, so you just have to keep doing them until they work. And if they don't, I've watched one speedrun get destroyed. He was ahead of his personal best, and he kept doing it, and the glitch just wouldn't activate. And obviously, you might think, oh, well, he's just not doing it correctly. But it's pretty much known that some glitches in that game, they're just really inconsistent, and you kind of just have to, you just do them in hopes of the glitch activating earlier rather than later. Because if it just doesn't activate, then you're just screwed, and you have to reset your whole run. But it's so much fun to watch, though. That's what it pretty much boils down to. And you don't even have to actually speedrun a game in order to enjoy speedrunning. Like I was saying, just watch some runs from your favorite game, or find a new game you've never even gotten to play, or watch something on that, because it's so fun watching people either break these games or just breeze through them. So, a lot of games, because I didn't have the old Nintendo consoles. That's also one of the main reasons I love watching, Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64, because, I've played them a little bit on an emulator, here and there or whatever, but I have not actually played them. Those weren't really part of my childhood because I had a PlayStation and PlayStation 2. So it's just really awesome to see these old games, like GoldenEye and stuff like that, get speedrun, because not only did I not get to experience it, I'm now getting to see it just be broken, and that's my first time watching it, and it's so awesome. But either way, guys, it's all I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to completely gush on speedrunning and the speedrunning community, because it's one of the most entertaining things that you can do, just period. But if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. I get new videos up every Wednesday and Sunday. It really helps a lot. Also, if you guys do watch speedruns, what games do you guys really like to see run? Because, like I said, I really like watching, speedruns, especially for games I, haven't watched speedruns before or even played. So if you guys have any recommendations of runs that are really, really awesome, or games that you love, watching be speedrun, just, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to get some suggestions for, more speedruns to watch. But like always, guys, have a great rest of the day, whatever day it is you're watching this, and see you next time.